What's up, YouTube? This is Dreadmaster Yugioh here, and we are here with...
Charles Morton.
And what did you do today?
I came in first in the OTS Championship.
And what did you play today?
I played a very strange combination of Snake Eyes, Azamina, Horus, Fiend Smith.
All right, let's get into the spiciness. What do we got here?
All right, so we'll start out with the Snake Eyes package. I do run the 3 wanted to get into my Diabell Star. I played the 2 Diabell Star to follow into it. I'll explain why, only 2 later on. The Diabell Star will only play into 1 Deception. I know Deception's been debated between 1 to 3 by many players. However, I find it comfortable at 1 just because there are drawbacks to the card. If they're playing Droll, it can lead you into a hard spot. I play the 1 Fusion for this, the one that recycles itself, just because it gives you the most benefit. It can get you into both combos.
Okay.
Diabell Star can also search out the original, and so it's the, that's your starting piece while it's in graveyard. Once you use your Azamina package, your second card you'll usually send is this way that you can start your normal summon with Snake Eye Ash and or any other, or Poplar if you need. Okay. The 1 Temple to help extension and help against that general mirror match. For the actual Snake Eye monsters themselves, you'll have the single Snake Eye Ash. I wish it was more, but it's not. The single Poplar. Again, wish it was more, but it's not. For standard plays, I play the 2 Oak for general recovery. During turn 1, if I'm going first, I'll use 1 Oak to kind of extend, and then the other Oak's going to be on the recovery for their turn for Snake Eye Ash.
Okay.
I play the 1 Birch. So Birch is a unique card. Birch comes in handy with the other packages. So if you're kind of lackluster on your play, you can always do Birch into Desiree and then get a Desiree send off of Birch while starting your Snake Eyes package.
Just was about to ask if you played it, and so you do play the 1 of, okay.
Yes. So that is also, if you're really in a hard spot, you can play a cross out called Birch and then you start with Oak. I actually had to do that today. It was a hard time, but it made it work. I play the 1 Diabell Star Snake Eye. This is main target for Temple, and the intention for this is just general recovery and board advancement. I play not 1, but 2 Flamberg. Debatable by also many players, as many players have moved down to 1. It is a brick in many cases, however, it does flow with another part of my package, which I'll go into right now.
Okay. Anything of that package that you would change, or you think it's pretty solid up for that?
I do think this package is pretty solid, to be honest. I will side out the 2nd Oak if I'm going into a board. So if I'm going 2nd, I will side out the 2nd Oak usually, just because there's no need for that recovery. I'm trying to break boards.
Okay, sounds good.
I think this package is pretty solid, in my opinion. I'm a strange player, as I've done these deck profiles before, and, I always have spice. One thing that'll lead into is, from here, you'll usually see the Fiend Smith combo if you're not playing Fire King. And so I play the 2 Engraver, the 1 Track, the 1 Larry, and the 1 Tier, Lacrima. And so, pretty small package. I prefer the 2 instead of the 3 Engraver, because I feel like this maximizes and minimizes the package. So it maximizes in terms of like what you can do, but it minimizes in terms of the bricks that you'll see. Because if you open up 2 Engravers, it takes up space and you can't really do too much. You can summon 1 off a Requiem from hand, or you can try to hard fuse using this, but there's other plays I'd like to see. So I do think I'm comfortable with this play.
Have you thought of just playing the 1 Engraver and 1 Lacrima, or do you prefer seeing 2?
I think the 2 is better. I know some people like to play the 1. And so 2 gives you, if you start with Engraver, it'll give you recovery for the following turn because it'll leave you an extra Fiend and Engraver in graveyard. So you'll always be good. The problem is, if you just play the 1, I do see complication. So if you see just this, you can really debate if you want to play Track or the Lurie at that point. Because there's not, seeing just 1 in hand is going to be unlikely. And so either, that means you're just opening the 2, which is essentially just playing the 2. So that is my take on it. Every player should play what they feel comfortable with and build to that extent. So
deck building is a thing.
Yes. So for my unique spice, that's not really common at all. I like the Horus engine. So 3 Mseti, 3 King's Arc, and then I actually play the 3 bricks. However, they're very beneficial. So one thing that a lot of players don't realize that I can get benefit off of, if I use Mseti and I use Flamberg, I can actually get Flamberg's recovery from Graveyard. So I can recover the Snake Eye, Ash, and Oak, and or any other level ones that I have in there. So on top of those, I also get this in the draw. And so that's a pretty hard plus. I know a lot of people, if they play this package, they only play the Mseti and they're happy. I do like the concept of playing all 3 of these because I can just discard them for fodder for, the Azamina cards or just for general things. And so they're in the graveyard. So when you see this, it's always live. This card can also start your plays for defensive purposes. So this allows me to set up a much stronger board at the end, and I think that's very valuable to me. Also, if my opponent doesn't do anything and it just seems like they brick, you activate this, you toss a few, and then you swing for game. So,
no TK card.
Yeah, I did that at Nationals. That was fun. Very easy win on that one. So from there, we'll go into the supporting packages. So hand traps in general. So I played 3 Crossout. I do feel like this card's necessary, especially with the Molcharmies running around, especially Fulros. Just because it can shut down that and you can have a little bit more freedom. It's also good nib protection and just general negation if you're against the mirror. Play the 1 Crossout, or I'm sorry, Called By.
A 4th call out or cross out? That's crazy.
It might as well be, honestly. And so Called By, just too good not to play. It can stop the engraver, which means if they only play 1, they're done.
Yep.
So it just does too much not to play, in my opinion. Alright, so here's where I'm a little strange. I like the rule of 2 for most of my hand traps, just because I prefer a heavier engine build. And that is my personal preference.
Are you an OCG player? Because they are known for doing that.
I did not know that, actually. But this is just something I've always done. And you can look back to most of my deck profiles from Indie 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I've always done this just because I do think the rule of... Now you can up this one. This one is okay at 3, considering you can activate it multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
My big thing is whenever you activate a card, if I cannot activate it again if I need it in hand, I find it being a dead card. So when you open up multiple of that card, you have to balance benefit versus cost.
Yep.
And so I think 2 of each hand trap that you can only use 1 of is usually beneficial. For me, I played the 2 Fulros, and I was debating on putting in a 3rd. However, just didn't get time to put in a 3rd before the event. And so this card's just too good not to play. It's literally our max C. If you're going 2nd and you just happen to see this in your opening hand, your opponent either has to play hard into it or have to decide on how much they want to give you. Or they might be lucky and have an Ash or a Called By. So it's also a good cross-out target if you're going first. So I played the 2 rocks. So this has came up today. It allowed me to, eliminate my opponent's entire play and make a lot of their back row useless. So I think the rock is still good as long as you can get out the negate, or if you can chain onto it with the imperm. And so that's personal preference. And then I also play 2 floodgates. One being skill drain, because my Horus package can play very well into it, and also my Snake Eyes package. I'm accustomed to playing into it, so I know exactly how to maneuver my cards to do so. If a player is not familiar, then they'll kind of fall flat. And then I play the 1 Tikaboo. Tikaboo also supporting the Horus package. I can send it off of my Snake Eyes cards if I need to get rid of it, or my OSS if I need to get rid of it. So I can remove it from field if I really need to, but in general, if I'm playing against Yugioh, this shuts them off immediately. I will wait till they summon Lurie and just flip this, and then they pass.
They can't do anything after that because they are all fiends.
Correct. And so they can't do anything about going into SP as long as they don't have one of the monsters. So as long as you flip this on your bell, it doesn't do too much against the Fire King variant, just because they are different attributes. Mm-hmm. It does shut off a lot of other Snake Eye players because they don't know how to play directly under it. And so there's a lot of benefit to the card. I think it's worth playing. So those are my 2 floodgates, and these are all my supporting cards for these packages.
And the There Chameleon one actually works well because of the Horus package. So
Right.
if you're not playing the Horus package, maybe not the greatest choice there.
That is true. It still can slow down the opponent, but you have to be aware of what types you have on field and what you're leaving.
Yep.
And so, with the Horus package, playing these 2 make it really strong, because I might just end on Happy and Dumatef and or any of the others. If I'm against Tempai, a lot of people don't realize this. I will set up this guy in defense. If they remove my King Sark, he'll trigger, and they cannot declare an attack against me that turn.
Did that come up at all today?
Not today. I didn't play Tempai, thankfully.
Ah.
That deck is very annoying, and if they just open the 4 blowouts and then the 1 starter, what do?
Scoop it up and go next.
Unfortunately. So that is my supporting package.
All right, so on to the extra deck then.
Yes, sir. So part of the Fiend Smith combo, you obviously play the 1 Requiem. From the Requiem, you can get there using the White Lady or Moon. Moon and Requiem will usually go into sequence. The sequence will then appear and turn into what I prefer as Desiree. I was debating on playing the rank 3 for the piercing and also the extra damage. I did decide against it today, and I think that was a good choice. Just because the extra deck space is really tight in this deck. So this is a Fiend Smith support. So from here, the general extra is the IP. So IP usually going into the SP. We'll have the Princess play. Princess for me usually recovers Flamberg. I can either go directly into Hida if I need to advance into a fire state, or I'll try to negate it with Desiree and actually go into one of my tech cards, which is the Unchained Abomination. Not many players play this, however I find it very beneficial. So whenever they destroy a card, I can destroy a card. And this is 3 times per turn, once by battle, once by card effect, and once during the end phase. So how I can make this trigger is my Princess Engrave. I pop something, I can pop another card with Abominal. And so I find it being a very beneficial card. I usually try to make it using the IP as well, so I can't just get blown over. And so it's one of my tech cards. I enjoy ending on this. And yeah, that's just general preference. So for my other supporting cards, I go with the Access Code line. I know a lot of people started to cut this line. I think it's too good because it clears so many continuous spells. That's an issue. It just clears a little bit. It clears problematic cards that you usually couldn't get rid of without sacrificing too much. Also, it gives you a good OTK availability. And so boosting him up to 53 and then going in for game with another, either Flamberg or another card, usually pretty easy.
You can also use the Hida and go into that line as well.
Yeah. And so, because they are spellcasters, one thing to be aware using this line is that the Snake Eye Bellstar is a spellcaster and Imset is a spellcaster.
Oh yeah, so they can all be summoned off that.
Yep. And so for my Asmina cards, I play the 2 very basic ones everyone does play, the Negate and the Search. And so, you know, you'll search the OSS typically. You'll link this off for more than likely White Woman and or IP, depending on what your field state is. Then after you link off, you return it from graveyard, then you'll make your negate. So it's a benefit using the Asmina fusion. And then for my supporting cards, my last 2 are 2 Ixies, number 90 and Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger and number 90 are crucial, especially using the Horus line. Horus monsters, because I can either make these guys with a Flamberg, a Diabellstar, Snake Eyes, and one of my Horus monsters, and or just go into these directly. 90 is an easy nib protection at the start of your turn, so you don't have to worry about that, and or drill protection if you're worried. And then Hope, general spell negation, and also redirects attacks. So let's say you have these guys on board, they try to attack this guy because he's small, you can redirect the attack to him. Yep. And so people do fall victim to that, you just attach for that, you know, it works.
Did the I think it was the Crimson or Zombie Vampire, did you not have the space for that, or did you just not want to play that?
Zombie Vampire was under debate for me a lot because it can advance your board state. The issue is that it can also advance your opponent in the graveyard aspect of things. Another problem that I have with Zombie Vampire in this current build and also the Azamina general cards, if you accidentally hit your fusion, and then there's no way to recover, and these are always gone. Unless, they're making you send something to grave. So, which is unlikely, but it is possible. So, I do think Zombie Vampire is too much of a risk to play currently. I do like it, considering it can advance your board state, but at this point in time, I would not play it.
All right. Then on to the side deck then.
Yes. So, for the side deck, I play the 3 Perulia, just because drawing in Maxi is amazing, especially going second. You'll get a large advantage. If you notice, most of my deck is gas, at least in comparison, and so this lets me get into that and actually can push through most boards. That mixed with the Fularos, that's already in main. I like the D barriers personally. I played 2 D barriers. I didn't have to play it all today. I didn't see the need. However, it can shut off Burn It. It can shut off Ritual Beast. It can shut off Voiceless Voice if you run across those. I think it's just a very strong card that, I don't see a reason not to play it.
Good for Tenpai too.
Tenpai is also a big contender. You call Synchro. It usually ends their turn. So, I always recommend calling Synchro after they make 1 Synchro. So they cannot just go into 2 the bounce.
Heavenly Spheres.
Yep, Heavenly Spheres. So this way, because it negates the effect of that Synchro monster too. And then they're stuck on that monster. And so I do recommend waiting for 1 just so they have to waste it and they cannot Spirit you, so you have a clear line of sight. But if you get a shotgun, you get a shotgun. So they board breakers. I played 2 Dark Ruler no more. You'll notice that I play 2 of whenever I'm looking to see it, but I play 3 of when I need it. And so the Mold Charmies can get me into a lot of these breakers if I need it. So I don't see a need to play 3 if I play maximize the Mold Charmies. I do play the 2 Spooky Dogwood because sometimes your opponent likes to overextend, and if you get enough life points, you don't have to worry about it.
Gives that extra turn survivability.
Yes, because sometimes they just keep extending and they make a board. I've been boosted up to like 36,000 before off of 1 turn, and so then I can literally just see my hand. If I want to play it, I can just pass. There's not a very big combination that can actually kill you at that point. And then whenever they start to, because then they'll try to get more attack on board, and then they try to. Usually they forget about their negates and everything because they're just trying to kill you. And then you can just go off. I played the 1 Duster for trap-based decks. Didn't see it today, but, against Labyrinth. Against some Dynamorphia. Thankfully I didn't see it against Dynamorphia today, considering he was playing a very spicy card. I played 2 Cosmics. I play the 2 Evenlies. And I play my last spice card, is Subversion. Subversion searchable off Poplar and or Witch. If you're starting into a board, it's a great set off of Witch if you have another extender to get you there, because some will stop Witch, some will wait till you will pay cost with something else. So if you set this and then you just activate it, target whatever you don't want to see, they have to respond. And so it can be a little rough if you're playing into Snake Eyes. If you're playing into anything else, Ritual Beast, Tenpai, Kashtira, just push back the most problematic thing, and they usually can't do anything about it. Yubel, it's great against Phantom Yubel.
Yep, can't change those effects.
Correct. So,
all right.
And if you was keeping count, you'll notice that I play a total of 45 cards in main and 15 for the extra.
All right. And then, is there anything in the deck that you would change or modify?
At the given state, I don't think so. It may change based on the new cards coming out during the next set. They're releasing in a few weeks.
The Supreme Darkness, right?
Yep.
All right.
And so for that set, I still have to toy with things to see what I'm comfortable with. and we'll see how it goes. But always deck build based on what you like, and just play the game. Don't follow everybody else.
Yep. And any shoutouts before we wrap up?
I appreciate all the Lexington crew and the judge that we had today. He was a great guy. Just shout out to Lexington, Kentucky.
Alrighty. Well, that was Charles with his Snake Eye Azamina Horus deck profile. All right, Dreadmaster Yugioh signing off.